are not ticking at all. They are literally wearing trash. I'm not gagging. I mean, I'm gagging it from, like, the smell. It's like, bitch, do you bathe? What I'm saying is...
Hi guys, I hope that you're having a wonderful night. It has been a week. Last week I was feeling horrible. I felt really sick and I couldn't come on. So I wanted to do the review video for tonight's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 11. And I don't even know what episode this is. I think it's episode 5 or 6. The episode starts off with Mercedes Amand Diamond being eliminated from the competition. And it was really sad because I really liked Mercedes. And there's a DJ named Adam Joseph, and he pretty much remixes a lot of the kind of like favorite lines and quotes from Drag Race. And so he was the one that popularized Linda Evangelista. And so he does an opulence remix, which includes the famous line, opulence, you own everything, from Paris is Burning. And Paris is Burning is one of RuPaul's favorite films to watch. So if you have not watched it, you can watch it for free on YouTube. It's a Jenny Livingston documentary that came out in the 80s, and it has some icons from the house and ball scene. So we are in the workroom, and Evie and Rajah get into it, and I really love when Rajah and Evie get into it. It's great TV, and Rajah gives me my favorite line thus far of the season, and she's referring to Evie. She says that I'm not from Denver, I'm from Dallas, the big D. I was on the floor laughing because that was such good TV. And Evie is really becoming one of my favorite queens of this season. In the makeup room for the challenge, which I'll discuss in a second, Evie says that for Halloween one year, her mother dressed up as a pimp, and she was her dead hooker. I wish I had the type of relationship with my mother where I could dress up in drag as a dead hooker. Like, that is hilarious. They have a great relationship. I wish all, children who are LGBTQ could have that relationship with their parents where they could dress up as the opposite gender and not have any issues. And so this week's Maxi Challenge is the Monsters Ball, where the queens have to give 3 looks. So it's a design challenge. So the first look is Trampy Trick or Treat, then Witch Please, and then Monster I'd Like to Freak. And so I have a lot of notes because there are 33 looks on the runway and I cannot remember them all. So for the first category is Trampy Trick or Treat. First of all, this is in random order. So Plastique is a vintage Playboy bunny. And again, she has kind of like these simple silhouettes. The hair looked right. Platinum blonde. The costume fits beautifully. The makeup is very soft. And I really liked the look, but it was very safe. And she looked gorgeous, of course. Ariel Versace, I don't even know how to describe it, but she had on this beautiful red wig, which is very similar to the looks that she's worn before. This light blue latex gown with these really cool bloodied syringes on the shoulders, red tulle on the midsection of the gown, and then like these bloody gloves. Love the look. On the runway, Michelle said that she didn't like the bottom of the costume, but I didn't mind. I really loved it. Evie Oddly was my second favorite with the kind of like T Rex costume. Um, she had taken a children's dinosaur costume, cut off the sleeves, and just created this very elaborate dinosaur moment, putting um, dinosaur claws on some pumps. Um, it had this kind of like interesting curly wig and really kind of like creating this dinosaur fantasy that I really liked. Ikaria was very safe. She was a sexy poker girl at a casino, and she had like the poker table and the kind of like really cool Atlantic City, flashy 70s poker girl costume. All of the others were kind of like blah for that category. So the next category is Witch Please. Um, the standouts for me were Evie Oddly. It was a very simple witch costume, blonde wig, over exaggerated hat, really kind of like goth girl witch costume that was kind of like flirty, but I liked. Plastique, again, my phone just vibrated. Plastique was very pretty. Um, she was kind of like this kind of like um, glamorized Maleficent, but the Disney version, with really great makeup. The headpiece looked very expensive, and the train on her outfit was like lace, black lace, that it looked really good. But again, it was very safe. Scarlet blew me away with this. I think she described it as a Fire Island witch. So she had this kind of like nude illusion bodysuit with a cape of the same material, prosthetic nose, this very unconventional hat. I wish she would have described it, but it looked like a vintage light fixture that she stuck on top of the end of a straw broom. It was really cool with this really cool wood bead necklace that had a cross that she kind of like put into her mouth. Um, and so those are my favorite looks from that category. And then we have Monster I Like to Freak. Akira was safe. I wasn't gagged, as Rajah would say, by her look. Plastique looked gorgeous and kind of like this latex, um, lace, sequined gown with a skeleton face that I actually really appreciated. Scarlet Envy, I was kind of like nervous about her Creature from the Black Lagoon look, but the kind of like mask was really executed well. I think it would have, with the gold latex gown, it would have popped more if she had some padding. It just kind of looked kind of like boxy and a little too tight in certain areas. Um, Nina West had kind of like this House of Wax look with kind of like this wax face falling off, revealing this kind of like hideous face. It reminded me of the movie, what was it? Eyes, no, Face, what is it? Eyes Without a Face. This kind of like 1950s horror movie. It reminded me of that. Um, the costume itself needed more kind of like detailing, attention to detail, because it was kind of like a blur of different types of cheap looking fabric. Um, Rajah was, she called it the bone collector, but it looked more like a witch doctor. I actually really liked the red hair with kind of like the body hugging. I think she said they were feathers on the bodysuit, but it looked really good. Evie Oddly was a voodoo doll, but I really didn't get voodoo doll. Um, it was kind of like all over the place. And so the person who the judges loved the most, which I was surprised, was Brooklyn Heights. She came out first, and kind of like this sexy mummy, which it's kind of a sexy mummy coming out in point. And so I've kind of like seen that look before, and it reminded me of her look from the Orange Alert category from last week. So I wasn't really wowed by it. And then for the second look, she came out as I can't remember the name of the character, but one of the guest judges played that particular character in the movie Suicide Squad, which I didn't see. And then her last look, I actually wasn't impressed by it. It was kind of like this glamorous creature of the night. And so I was surprised. And Brooklyn actually was the winner of the Maxi Challenge, which really shocked me. And so before we get there, RuPaul announces that Nina, Akira, Scarlett, Rajah, and Vanjie are safe. The tops and bottoms are Plastique, Sugar, Brooklyn, Evie, and Silky. And so, like I said, Brooklyn Heights is the winner. And the bottom two are Sugar and Ariel, and they have to perform to I'm Your Baby Tonight by Whitney Houston. RuPaul has been showing so much love to Whitney Houston, which I love. I'm Your Baby Tonight is one of my favorite Whitney Houston videos. In the video, in one scene, she's playing like 3 different like jazz singers on a rooftop. And as the first time I watched this as like a little kid, I was just like in awe of kind of like the editing. I'm like, wow, like how did this happen? And it was just such like a magical music video. And so every time I hear the song, it makes me happy because you know, all gay men have their divas, and Whitney Houston is my diva. I was obsessed with Whitney Houston. Every time she would come out on any type of magazine, I would buy it and I would put it in this album. And I wish I still had it because it was really cool. It took a lot of I used to save up a lot of money just to buy like every single magazine that I could find of her, and I literally had hundreds, and I loved finding like older magazines. One of my favorite magazine covers of her, I think it was like a Vogue magazine cover. And so I love Whitney. So I love all of the love that RuPaul has given to Whitney. And so we start the lip sync, and Ariel is doing wonderful. My eyes were on her the entire time. The camera pans to her in the first few seconds, and she's laying on the ground, and she just looks so poised and so polished, and she knows the words, and she's doing so well, and then she slips on the fabric of her train. And she gets up, she regains her composure, but you can see in Rue's eyes that she's no longer looking at Ariel. All of her attention is going to Sugarcane. Sugarcane, I was not wowed by her performance. It seemed very starter queen, someone who doesn't understand nuances of performance to really bring out the words and the emotion of the song. And I was really missing that. I don't think Sugar even moved from where she was on the stage. And so I wasn't really impressed with her performance, but I knew RuPaul was going to say that she was safe. And so Ariel leaves the competition, and based off of RuPaul and Michelle and Ross, they were saying that Ariel has been giving the same looks every single week. So it made sense that Ariel would leave the competition. And so I'm just curious what's going to be mentioned on social media about this, because she is a social media queen and a fan favorite. This concludes the trade review. I hope that you guys enjoyed this review and the episode this week. I would love to hear your comments. Do you think that Ariel should have stayed? Do you think that Sugar is the rightful winner of the episode? Who do you think should have won the overall Monster Ball? Let me know, and have a wonderful night. Besos.